Across the globe, gambling laws vary wildly, from countries that embrace the industry with open arms to those that outright ban it. Moreover, some countries have bizarre regulations that make little to no sense. While some nations strictly control gambling to prevent addiction and bankruptcy, others use it as a revenue stream or place weird restrictions on this universal pastime. From casino goers to anyone curious about global laws, here's an overview of the strictest, weirdest, and most liberal gambling laws and regulations around the world. The strictest gambling laws. Countries with the most stringent gambling laws include Qatar, Brunei, Lebanon, Hong Kong, and Japan. Here is more on gambling laws around the world, where betting is banned or heavily restricted in some countries. Qatar. No gambling, no exceptions. Qatar has one of the strictest anti-gambling laws in the world. Rooted in Sharia law, gambling is considered a sin, and those caught gambling, online or offline, face enormous fines, jail time, and even deportation for expat residents. This zero-tolerance policy is aimed at preventing addiction and financial ruin, reflecting the country's deeply held religious and cultural values. Brunei. Severe penalties under Sharia law. Brunei's laws against gambling are as severe as those of Qatar. Under Sharia law, all forms of gambling are strictly prohibited, and those caught participating may face extreme punishments. Even private, informal betting among friends can lead to serious legal consequences. Unlike some countries where underground gambling flourishes, Brunei's surveillance and enforcement leave little room for illicit betting activities, making the consequences of gambling in Brunei particularly grave. Lebanon. Online gambling blacklisted. In Lebanon, the government has gone so far as to block all online gambling internet sites, making online gambling a near impossibility. Offline gambling in Lebanon is permitted only in state-controlled casinos. Internet sites and other non-licensed gambling operators are blacklisted, making it nearly impossible for residents to access online casinos legally. Lebanon residents who get caught using the prohibited services are subject to massive fines. North Korea. Gambling is only for tourists. Gambling in North Korea is strictly illegal for locals, with harsh consequences for those who attempt it. However, tourists visiting the country can gamble under strict surveillance in designated casinos, primarily in Pyongyang. North Koreans caught gambling face severe punishments, including forced labor or imprisonment. United Arab Emirates. Gambling equals imprisonment. The UAE is another country with some of the harshest gambling restrictions. Under the Penal Code, any form of gambling, whether online or land-based, is strictly prohibited. Violators can face imprisonment and steep fines. The country also employs advanced internet filtering systems to prevent access to online casinos. Unlike some countries that allow controlled gambling for tourists, the UAE takes a zero-tolerance approach, ensuring no loopholes exist. Hong Kong, a surprising restriction. Though an economic powerhouse with nearby territories that embrace gambling, such as Macau, Hong Kong strongly prohibits gambling activities. The sole exceptions are state-run lotteries and horse race betting via the Hong Kong Jockey Club. Anyone who engages in illicit gambling, whether online or in underground venues, faces serious legal repercussions, including imprisonment. Japan, a loophole for pachinko. Japan completely prohibits traditional gambling, but allows pachinko, a pinball-style slot machine game. Technically, the players don't receive money directly. Instead, they receive tokens they can exchange for prizes at special centers. These prizes can then be exchanged for money at the independent exchange centers, allowing a loophole to allow pachinko to exist legally. The weirdest gambling laws. Some countries take an unconventional approach to playing games of chance, imposing gambling restrictions that may seem bizarre or counterintuitive. Here's a closer look. Kentucky, USA, suing to recover gambling losses. Kentucky has an odd law that allows gamblers to sue to recover losses, if they do so within 6 months of the bet. Losses must be $5 or more per gambling transaction to be eligible. More oddly, third parties, i.e., the gambler's relatives or friends, can sue on their behalf and recover triple the amount lost. Monte Carlo, Monaco. Locals can't play in their own casinos. Despite being one of the world's most famous gambling resorts with the most relaxed gambling laws around the world, Monaco forbids its own citizens from gambling in its luxurious casinos. Monte Carlo is synonymous with luxury casinos, yet they are reserved for wealthy tourists alone, and locals are legally barred from entering them. New Zealand. Charities control slot machines. Contrary to what happens in most countries, where private companies or casinos run slot machines, or pokies, New Zealand actually mandates by law that they must be run by charities alone. This unique approach ensures that when anyone plays, part of the money goes to social causes and community initiatives, making New Zealand's gambling laws particularly intriguing. Canada. No dice allowed in craps. In Canada, there is a strange law that prohibits the use of dice for certain games, including the well-known game of craps. They implemented this rule to prevent the use of weighted dice. The casinos have circumvented this by using virtual or electronic dice resembling playing cards to simulate dice rolls, but the physical form of dice is not allowed. United Kingdom, no gambling in libraries. The UK has long been one of the most gambling-tolerant countries, but an old law made gambling in public libraries illegal. Originally implemented in 1898, the law was designed to keep rowdy behavior out of libraries and wasn't overturned until 2005. This rule, which seems particularly unusual for a country with the most liberal gambling market in the world, may amuse the audience. The most liberal gambling laws. In contrast to the strict and unusual restrictions found in some countries, others fully embrace gambling, allowing a wide range of betting activities with minimal government interference. Macau, the gambling capital of the world. Macau has been labeled as the Las Vegas of Asia, but it actually generates more gaming revenue than Las Vegas itself. Casinos are allowed to operate freely, attracting millions of high rollers from around the world, particularly from neighboring mainland China, where gambling is largely illegal. United Kingdom, fully regulated and accessible. The United Kingdom has one of the most open, highly regulated gambling markets. Everything from casinos to online and sports betting is permitted under strict regulations administered by the UK Gambling Commission. Consumer protections are strong, with fair play and responsible gaming guaranteed. Las Vegas, USA, the ultimate gambling destination. Las Vegas remains one of the most iconic gambling destinations in the world, with world-famous casinos, sports books, and a thriving entertainment scene. It epitomizes the liberal approach to gambling. Nevada's regulations ensure responsible gaming while keeping the industry flourishing. Australia, a nation of gamblers. Australia has one of the highest gambling participation rates in the world. Pokies, slot machines, are everywhere. Sports betting is incredibly popular, and online casinos thrive under regulated conditions. There are some restrictions, but Australians can generally gamble with few restrictions. Malta, a haven for online casinos. Malta is home to some of the world's biggest online casino operators because of its pro-gambling legislation. The Malta Gaming Authority encourages responsible gaming while allowing international betting websites to flourish under its license regime. The United States, a patchwork of laws. Gambling laws in the US vary from state to state. Nevada is the most famous gambling destination, home to Las Vegas, where casinos operate freely. Other states, like New Jersey and Pennsylvania, also have thriving gambling industries. However, some states still enforce strict gambling bans, making the legal landscape complex. Online gambling is also regulated state by state, with some states fully legalizing online casinos and others banning them outright. Jail time and legal consequences for unlawful gambling. Unlawful gambling is penalized differently throughout the world. Some of the notable penalties are listed and briefly discussed below. Qatar and Brunei, jail time, hefty fines, and even corporal punishment. Japan, 5 years imprisonment for gambling illegally. Hong Kong, 7 years imprisonment for gambling without a license. Lebanon, online gamblers may be prosecuted and have their access to gambling sites blocked. Kentucky, USA, no jail time for gamblers, but an unusual legal remedy for recovering losses. UK, only licensed and regulated gambling is allowed, with large fines and closure for illegal operators. While some countries may impose prison time for unlawful gambling, the tendency is to focus on responsible gambling initiatives rather than criminal punishment. A global assortment of gambling laws. As evident in our infographics report, gambling laws worldwide are as varied as the cultures that enforce them. Some nations embrace gambling as a vital economic industry, while others ban it outright due to religious or social reasons. Then there are the bizarre in-between cases, where laws seem outdated, confusing, or strangely specific. Whether you're a casual bettor or simply intrigued by how different countries approach gambling, understanding gambling regulations around the world can provide a fascinating glimpse into global legal systems. With an ever-changing gambling landscape and as attitudes shift, so too may the laws that govern this age-old pastime.